This is straight to the point. Hey, we're back. Mitchell and Millwood on your airways right now.
What up?
What up? We turned up in here.
Yeah.
Up in here. Y'all know how we do. Best sports talk on the damn airwaves right now. We're going back to our previous topic of what we're referring to. Now, Millwood tends to think that you can only have two teams. Now, let me see if I can state this correctly. Or better yet, Millwood, you go ahead and you state it.
You can only have two teams from your conference in a BCS bowl game because of the way that the SEC is set up. They can have 3 or 4 teams, and it's knocking other teams out. So they set it up to where only 2 teams from a conference can be, unless it's for a championship game. Then they'll have another team come in. That's why you have an SEC team that can go that's slated for the Sugar Bowl. They're in now, unless that team is playing is ranked number 1 and they're playing for the national championship. Then that's a whole different story.
Now I got you. Now I got you. Now I got you. Now we're on the same page. So with that being said, and going back to that argument, should a one-loss team from the SEC play for a national title ahead of Notre Dame?
No.
And what do you base that off of?
Because that team went undefeated. They're above that. They're above the one-loss team in the standings, and that's how it should start. So you can't jump the gun because I don't believe Alabama and LSU should have played each other last year. They jumped the gun off another team.
Well, who did they jump? I mean, because clearly those were the 2 best teams playing college football last year. So who did they jump? Okay, so I want to ask you, based off of your statement, so are you saying that because a team is undefeated, they're worthy of playing for a national title? Is that your standpoint?
It depends where they are in the rankings. There's some undefeated teams that are in the bottom half of the rankings. Notre Dame is ranked number 3 in the country. They've proven that. They've beaten Oklahoma in Oklahoma. They've beaten Stanford. So they have proven that they belong where they are.
They've been the benefactor.
Their defense is one of the top 2 in the country.
They've been. No, well, I have to disagree with that, but we'll get back to that in a second. But they've been the benefactor of moving up in the rankings because other teams have lost. So let's hypothetically say that, because you're saying that it should be based off of the ranking. So let's say if Alabama leapfrogs Notre Dame in the BCS, but yet Notre Dame is undefeated, but Alabama leapfrogs them in the rankings.
It's not going to happen.
How can you say it's not going to happen? How can you say it's not going to happen? Because
the only way Alabama is going to leapfrog Notre Dame is if Alabama goes out, win the SEC championship, and Notre Dame loses.
No,
and Notre Dame still has an opportunity.
Actually, my friend, you're factually incorrect, because Notre Dame can go up against in this game right here, go against Wake Forest. They can just stink the joint up. They can just stink it up. It goes into overtime like they did against Pitt. They kick a field goal. Somehow they miraculously pull off a victory against USC. They don't play too well. It ends up being a 6-3 game. You mean to tell me the voters would still vote Notre Dame over Alabama with this particular scenario? And also Alabama goes into this last game in the Iron Bowl. They beat the dog stuffing out of Auburn. They go on to face another one-loss team in Georgia in the SEC championship. They beat them by 30 points, beat the mess out of them. So you mean to tell me they're going to look at what Alabama did, and they're going to look at what Notre Dame did. They're going to comparatively look at the 2 schedules, and they're going to rank Notre Dame over Alabama? You're saying that it's impossible that Notre Dame will not fall behind Alabama if Notre Dame
will
wins
not
out.
fall behind them because Notre Dame will be undefeated.
But my friend, it doesn't matter if you're undefeated or not. It has all to do with the rankings and the BCS rankings and what those polls say.
Right now, Alabama's BCS rankings is a .85. Notre Dame is .93.
So let's say if Notre Dame drops for some particular reason, the voters get finicky and they decide, you know what, Alabama didn't. I mean, Notre Dame didn't play that well. They stunk up the joint. And you know what? Alabama, they played really, really well. So you saying basically it's impossible. It's impossible.
Because it's Notre Dame, yes. If it maybe was another team, Louisville, Cincinnati, some team that's never been up there, then yeah, they'll jump over them. But because it's Notre Dame, then yes,
so now you're talking about the merits of something altogether that's different. Then now we're talking about some other shenanigans that goes on because of that Notre Dame bias, because of what we were saying
luck
about.
Luck of the Irish, baby. Luck of the Irish.
Ain't no luck of the Irish. We're talking about a team that everyone wants to be relevant. Just like if you had if the NFL had their rathers and it was Dallas versus let's say Minnesota, and they're trying to see who gets to the Super Bowl. You know, the league, the NFL, will want to see Dallas in the Super Bowl because of the money that they generate. Because of, regardless whether you like them, dislike them, folks are still going to talk about them. So basically, you told me all I need to hear. Regardless, it's going to be a Notre Dame bias. That's what you're telling me.
Luck of the Irish. That's all I'm going to say.
Luck of the Irish, my foot. You know what? I'm so
don't
tired.
Be a hater. Don't be a hater.
You know what? I'm so tired. I'm so tired of Notre Dame.
Tell the truth. You don't like Notre Dame, do you? Tell the truth. Tell the truth.
I never did, and it goes back to the days where Lou Holtz was the head coach, and I must admit I was a U of M fan. I always liked the U, and it goes back to that the Catholics versus convicts things. How you gonna put down my team like that? How you gonna put down the U like that? Call them a bunch of convicts, man. That has some racial overtones to it. Matter of fact, I never, besides you, Millwood, I never met a black person who liked Notre Dame. Really? Look, where do y'all exist?
That's the school that I wanted to go to when I was in high school, and that's the school that I picked up because I was Marvin over Joe Montana when he was a quarterback there, and I wanted to go to Notre Dame. So I've always loved Notre Dame, even though I'm a Maryland grad, I'm a Maryland alumni, I still love my Terps. So
you know what, man? See, there you go, straddling the fence again. Habitual
I'm
straddler.
Not straddling the
You're
fence.
Habitual straddler. The theme for this show is habitual straddling. Okay, man, you gotta pick a team, man. You have to pick a team.
And that's how I'm gonna title this show. Straddler.
I mean, you got to pick a team.
Okay, we got 2 against 1. I'm sorry if I graduated from the University of Maryland and I like Notre Dame also. I'm sorry that you are a bandwagon fan and you jump on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
No bandwagon.
And you're a bandwagon fan. You jump on the North Carolina
Tar
Heels.
Question: since this is the last segment, we're talking about college sports. One thing that always been on my mind, and I don't want to veer off track, but I want to bring it up since it's the last segment and we're halfway through it. Do you think college athletes should get paid?
Oh, most definitely. I believe they should get at least a stipend. They bring in a lot of money to the colleges, a lot of money, and that's one of the reasons why you have a lot of athletes jumping ship and going to especially like in basketball, and they jump ship. They do that 1 year and they're done, and they want to do that in college, but they can't. So, and you have a lot of athletes that's come in. They come in from poor, underprivileged families, and the parents they need help. Now, truth be known, there's some money under the table. People, and I'm gonna come out and say it. Money is being given under the table.
Always has been.
Okay, so that's a good way, a quick way of stopping it. Give these kids a stipend to help them out while they're there. They can't get a job. Okay, they can't work. They can't get a car or anything like that. Give them a stipend so they can have something.
They can't take the education serious.
Exactly.
Or it's difficult for them to take the education serious.
I definitely agree with both of you all. I definitely agree that the athletes should get a stipend. They deserve money because the NCAA is one of the biggest hypocrites that there is. I'm sorry, I just got to call it how I see it.
Straight to the point, baby.
Straight to the point. You sit here and you make money off of these kids, and the majority of them, call it how I see it, are African American. bulk of the money that's made for universities come from football. Football is the money maker for universities. I don't care if you're a small university of 20 people or you got 20,000 people. Football is the money maker. Majority of football players are African American. All right. So therefore, the NCAA says, hey, you're a student athlete. Hey, we're providing you an education. So, hey, you ought to be happy with that. You take it, you run with it, and you do what you're supposed to do, get your education. Okay. But like you said, it's hard to obtain an education where 5 to 6 days out of the week I'm on the practice field. I'm going out of town. I'm traveling to this particular place, that particular place. I have to work out. I have to maintain my body. I have to do this. I have to do that. The regimen of a student athlete is way harder and way stricter than just an academic person who's attending a college or a university. Not only that, but you take a look at the millions and millions of dollars that the NCAA is making off of television contracts alone. Just look at the money that they make off television contracts alone.
Not to mention bowl games and gaming.
The bowl games, the gambling that's made off of these kids.
We're talking about gaming.
Yeah, gaming, right.
Yeah,
gaming, gambling, all of that. All of that. You look at video games, you look at jerseys that are being sold off of the likeness of these student athletes, and you mean to tell me that they risk limb and injury to go out there for these universities, and the only thing these universities can tell them is be happy that you're getting an education? No, I don't think so.
Look at the ratio. College. Let's look at the cost of college for an athlete. He comes in, stays on campus, free food. You're talking what, $100,000, $150,000 at a prestigious college. Look at the money that he brings to the college, especially as a star athlete. We're talking millions and millions of dollars compared to $100,000.
Right.
You trying to tell me you can't give that person a stipend?
And I think that's where the inequity lies within that particular scenario that you just described. And it goes back to me. For me, it hits home that it seems like that plantation mentality still exists today. Regardless of how it is, regardless of what happens, there's a plantation mentality that, hey, boy, you gonna go out there and you're gonna make that money for us. You gonna tote that rock, boy. You gonna go out there and run. You gonna do X, Y, and Z. We might give you this under the table. We might give you a couple $100. We might slide you a couple free meals. We might take you this and that. But it's pennies on the dollar compared to what universities are making, and it's not fair. And then not only that, but then the NCAA wants to be so hypocritical and off of the money that these athletes are generating for them, they're saying to these agents that say, hey, I can come in and I can give you this off the rip. I can provide you this. I can provide you with this nice car. How in the world are you going to tell an 18 to 23-year-old, man, no, you can't have that car.
With 10 brothers and sisters.
Right, that you can't have this car. You can't have this fancy jewelry. Or, hey, you're not supposed to take this money when the only thing they're doing is they're going out there, and it's part of my French, but they're busting their ass for this university, and they're not getting any kickback. They're not getting anything tangible. And that, I think that's the main issue right here, is that they're not seeing what they're getting tangible. Yes, an education is priceless, but in the process, what can I also get for providing my services to your university besides that education? And I think that's the problem that we have with the NCAA and today's athletes.
And also, you have to look at it. You got these kids that are coming in there. They're not even thinking about an education. Everything is, I'm trying to go pro. I'm trying to go pro.
They majored in basket weaving and music appreciation.
Nothing to fall back on when they get out. Nothing to fall back on.
Nothing.
But it starts with your home life, man. And if you don't have that home life, you don't have that home training, if you don't have that foundation behind you, then you're bound to fail. Because let's look at it, they don't have your best interests at heart.
Men, raise your boys. Raise your boys, men.
All they see is dollar signs. Hey, be strong, black man. Gotta be strong.
Hey, we thank you all for joining us in our show. Thank the Lord for giving us another day. Shout out to my frats, Phi Beta Sigma. And keep it going, y'all. Check us out with us later on. We're gonna do another segment next week. Check us out. Straight to the point. Anything you want us to talk about us, check us out on the web.
Hey, check us out on TriStar Radio, or you can check us out at TriStarRadio/365live.com. Hey, it's been a pleasure. We enjoyed y'all. Until next time, tune in and turn up. Peace.